There he is.
Hey, dude.
So I didn't tell them.
Oh, wait. Who is that?
Josh Kasper.
Get the fuck out of here.
Hello.
Fucking what? What up, everybody? Well, we're live now because you scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Welcome to my little slice of the internet, Second Order Chaos. My name is Rando, and with me I have... actually, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Oh shit! Right, put us on the spot. Yeah,
Do it.
I'm Brian. You might know me as R Twist. Probably don't know who I am, but yeah, just hanging out, looking to have a good time.
Cool. Mike Felch, you stay ready on Twitter. Same thing. Old school skater and red teamer R&D security research for a security company. Pretty much it.
And who's that handsome devil down in the middle?
I didn't tell everybody because I didn't know. We were just talking. He's a good friend of mine from way back. We skated together for a little while, a couple of years maybe. This is Josh Kasper, old school, blind. Yeah. So Josh, you want to introduce yourself? I mean, I don't know if you need an introduction, but
No, he really doesn't need an introduction.
I'm totally not a computer nerd. I wish I was, but I am a skateboarder. So yeah, Josh Kasper, and cool. Let's talk about some skate stuff,
dude. Yeah, welcome, man. Shit, good thing I have all video right now. I'm actually on my Twitch stream. I'm playing old videos of yours. But yo, like, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, give you a little background since those two other monkeys know what this is about. My name's Danny, by the way. Yeah, I have this stream and we're up on Twitch and we usually talk about like hack and shit and that kind of thing. But now we're kind of I'm changing it up a little bit where we just pick a different topic and so everybody can kind of hang out and just kind of blow off some steam and shit. And recently, for me. So I'm 38 by this point. I hadn't hopped on a board since I was probably 19, maybe 20. And recently, my son, he's 4.5. He was like, "Daddy, I love skateboarding. I want to skate." And I was like, "All right, man." So I went down to my local shop that just reopened after like 20 years. They revamped it and brought it back, and I bought him a board. And I was like, "Man, I really want to get back on a board now. Like this seems and plus it'll help me learn again with him." So I kind of went apeshit. I bought his board and I have since in the past 2 months bought 3 more.
Jesus.
I bought so I have my usual board. It's 8.5 and I can't remember who I got it from right now, but or what deck it is, but it's got, you know, Thunders on it, Spitfires. No, this one has the bigger juice wheels, OJ, whatever. They're like nice and soft.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you know, just so I can, because there's a lot of cracks and shit around here. And then I was like, well, I kind of want a smaller one where, like, if I ever do learn tricks again, so then I got like a smaller 8-inch with some independence and some of those clouds, Rick the Clouds that they have now. And I'm relearning all of this shit. And then I was like, well, some days I just want to cruise. So my shop found me old school deck was a reissue from Dogtown, and it's got what 75s on the Juice Thunders. So yeah, so now I have 3 boards in less than 3 months. But anyway, so and then like when I started skating, I started going to my local park in the morning and started posting videos of like my half-assed ollies. Like half-assed is actually really generous. And just kind of like my progression and stuff like that and the resources that I found now. And then my buddies up here were both also skaters and they're like, yeah, dude, we're still skating too. So now it's just a bunch of old men rolling around.
trying not to kill ourselves.
Yeah.
Josh, do you still skate?
I do, but I don't know. We went the other day, and I was trying to ollie. There was a trash can off of a slant, and it was standing up tall, so it was pretty high. Anyway, I didn't go fast enough, and I landed on the top and kind of. Okay, thanks. I slammed kind of hard. I still do, but I got to be careful because I'm still such a daredevil that like it's dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
Even you know, old bones and stuff like that. So yeah,
Oh
like
my god.
but I do love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. And stairs too, because I'm like, dude, I see stairs and I'm like, I could do that. And it's like
Mm.
I could, but you know, so but yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's I mean, and I'll ask the of Mike and Brian too. I have noticed I no longer feel like Wolverine.
Right. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit more fear than I had in the early days, and for good reason too, because my balance just isn't what it was. You know, I look at old pictures and stuff. I'm like, man, I was flying. It was a great time. You know, and then out here I come down a little hill and see a rock, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. You know, so but no, it's still a good time. So.
Funny, man. I had to step back. Actually, man, I remember. Do you remember that, Josh? When we were at a skate park. It was a six stair, and I hard flipped the six stair, and then I landed on my board, but my front foot was halfway off the deck, and I rolled my ankle. Do you remember that?
I do. I felt so bad.
Dude, it was like the worst ever. My whole
Oh,
leg got
man.
massive and swollen. It was all bruised all the way up my leg,
Yeah.
and it was bad. And then I tried to like skate after that, after it was healing, and I just could never recover. Like I couldn't even do anything.
Wow.
But yeah, that put me out. That's actually when I stopped. I stopped then, and then I moved. So that was I think that was like 2007, maybe
That sounds really good.
2007.
Okay.
And then yeah, and then I moved back, and then we got married. My wife and I got married, and then what happened? Oh, she didn't want me to skate anymore, and that was like the big thing. And I'm like, look, you don't understand. Like, it's different. Like going extreme, like a nasty set of stairs or something crazy is like it's different than just like kicking around and hitting a curb or hitting a bench or something. You know what I'm saying? Like a little three stair is not going to hurt anybody. Well, I mean, it might, but it's not going to hurt me like the other ones were. So like, but I think she's cool. She was cool with it after that. So I started skating again. We had a little clique here in Lakeland, a bunch of little kid troublemakers, and so I connected with them. Man, we started skating, and it was cool. We started bringing out rails, and I was taking them to the parks, and we were skating pretty hard. They were really good, man. It was crazy how good these kids are now. And then I kind of stopped, and then I've been wanting to pick it up. I picked it up a little bit. I don't know, man, like maybe 10 months ago. And then I was talking to the wife about it because I was telling her how Rando was posting stuff on Twitter. And I was like, no, he's getting me all piped up again and hyped up. And we're going to do it in Vegas this year at DEF CON at the conference or something. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. So I'm just not getting back in. Actually, Josh, we reconnected again not too long ago. And you were saying you were longboarding now, right?
I was, and I found a shirt of a skateboard marathon. I don't know if you guys have heard of any of those. They do them around the world. So can I show you that?
Sure, yeah.
Let's see. I have no idea if that's in focus. But is that? How about there?
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that was super awesome because it's only pushing, but it is 26 miles. And like, I mean, it's really hard on your hips because my longboard has a drop down though, so I don't know how many inches off the ground, but it's about as low as my street board actually, because it's got these crazy trucks that dip down, and then it still has 70 millimeter wheels on it. But like that was all I did like 2013, 14. I did like 3 or 4 of them, and I think the best time I got was an hour and 59 minutes, but it's hard, dude. It's like, it's nonstop, switching legs. It's really like, but it's kind of fun because it's like independent and I can just do it on my own pace. And although this one time there was a little kiddo who he was probably like 13 or something, and like he was like going the same speed, so we were just side by side, and I was like, when is this little guy gonna get away from me? But because I was enjoying like the time by myself, and he's like I couldn't go faster because I'm going at my pace. And but yeah, dude, it's escape just it's cool. Like you don't have to worry about pebbles in the road, and you got big 70mm wheels. It's fun, but the hardest thing about that is just finding a place where you can go and push, and you don't get in joggers way, bikers way, or runners way, because a lot of, and dogs don't like skateboards a lot of times either.
No.
So it's like, where do we go? But
Yeah.
Longboarding's awesome.
Brian, I've recently saw you eat shit on Twitter. How is your renaissance going, and does it feel worse now when you fall?
It doesn't feel worse. If I remember correctly, it feels about the same. Overall, I'm actually having a great time. I'm putting a lot more effort into actually learning tricks these days. Putting in the groundwork, trying things out, and actually following through on that work. And I'll sit out there and try, whatever first part of a trick for half an hour, even though it's not the funnest thing in the world when you're doing that. But putting in the work means that you can land it every time, and then when you go out and actually hit the street, then you have a good time. And I never did that as a kid. I was always just kind of like, go at it as hard as I could. I'd take the fall and just do it over and over again. And, I never really got past like that 5 or 7 stair. I could hit a rail every now and then. I could do transitions, but, it kind of stalled out. I just was like, oh, I'm happy with basic grinds on, a couple of benches and stuff like that. And just kind of stopped. So I'm, working on tricks I never tried before now, and actually having a good time at it. So
yeah, the ones, so where I grew up in like the rural part of like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and my parents didn't particularly give a shit about helping me go to places and find places to go. So like I would always get hand-me-down boards from kids at school, and we always rode like the super tiny Spitfires, and which didn't jive because the only parking lot I had behind me was the parking lot to the local fire and police station. So, and it all had rocks and shit. I was constantly wheel biting. I could never hit a kickflip, but I could heel flip all day long. I was doing 360 heel flip, kickflip. Fuck it, can't do it. And I remember that like the injury. So as I started doing this journey now, and Josh, you guys might appreciate this. I originally first rolled my ankle when I was like 16. I was jumping this gap, and my foot just flew off the front of the board, landed straight on its side, like 90 degrees.
Oh.
And it didn't break, but it was super, like I just couldn't walk on it. And my dad was like, fucking walk it off. Okay. Yeah. So it never healed right, and I've been rolling my ankle ever since. So finally this year I went and got looked at, and they're like, yeah, you need surgery on this thing. Cause right before I got one of my boards, my newer boards, I rolled my ankle walking on flat ground. I just took a step, and this time what was different, I love talking about injuries. What was different is, instead of it normally like just kind of correcting, it stayed at a joint for like 3 seconds, and then it popped back in. And I said, well, that's not fucking great. Okay. So I was looking at surgery for that, and then while I was waiting for that, I got this new cruiser board with Bronson bearings and 80 fucking millimeter. And I was at a new park I wasn't familiar with, and it was just like a walking trail, and speed wobbles were just like, hey man, remember me? And threw me off. And as I jumped and stepped off, I felt a pop in my knee, and partial ACL. and now with all the virus, like I can't fucking do anything. So now I have a brace for my knee. I have a brace for my ankle, and my wife's like,
Oh my god.
maybe stop. And I was like, "Well, that's super sad." But yeah, man, like I used to feel invincible, and now I don't. But my son's still like, "YOLO, let's go." He just learned to push and get his back foot on by himself. I nearly had an aneurysm when he did it. I was like, "That's fucking amazing." There's a question in the chat already, and I'll pose it to all three of you. What is the best song, map, and character from the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater?
Man,
Can you even remember, you old fucks?
I don't remember the best song, but the best map was the airport, and I'm trying to remember.
Oh
was it
yeah,
Tampa Airport or something. I'm trying to remember. It was an airport. That's all I remember.
I didn't really play it.
oh,
Yeah. I mean, I played it once or twice, but it wasn't a.
oh really? Well,
Yeah.
well, at least Josh is busy being a pro skateboarder. Didn't have to play it, bro. Lived it.
Yeah.
So mine was they had that was my first introduction to the band AFI. I don't think I'd ever
Okay.
really heard AFI before, and The Boy Who Destroyed the World was on that. I think it was on that first soundtrack. I think it was the first one, and I don't think from the original one. I think it would have to. I still love the airplane hangar. Like that was the first level, or probably the school. The school was probably my other favorite. When does anybody remember? I mean, two of you didn't really play it, but the cruise ship. The cruise ship might not have been in like the first one.
No.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't remember.
Well, the cruise ship was really dope. But yeah, so like, yeah, that was my favorite map. And dude, just hours and hours and hours. I was like, if my parents aren't going to drive me to go skate, then fuck, I'll just play Tony Hawk. So what are you doing nowadays, Josh?
I am a dad, a husband, and I work full time servicing fire extinguishers. So
Nice.
that keeps me pretty busy. And I just skated with my kiddo. He's 15, and he's kind of hopping on the longboard, and he can't ollie yet, but he tries. We have some rocks in our backyard, and I'm like, that's such good, because you don't roll, and that's where you want to learn how to ollie. But it totally takes me back, because he's like pushing down on the back, and it's like he's doing it repeatedly. I'm like, just be patient, because it's like it's the hardest thing you'll ever. That like ollie is
It's so hard now. I used to be really good at it.
Yeah.
So how far are you from your old skate spots like Carlsbad and all those?
pretty close.
You
But
guys ever go there for like nostalgia reasons?
luckily they tore down that gap in I think it was 08, because man, I was so narcissistic isn't the word, but like I would just keep going back and like learn a new trick. And but yeah, man, there's so many spots out here, but I try to stick to kind of like more skate parks and stuff.
That'll definitely go down in skater history, the Carlsbad Gap, though, for sure. And probably in not to bring back up injuries, but probably the injury, your video in your what's it, the sponsor me video?
A head slam?
Yes.
Oh shit! I have to go find
360
that.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, here. I think I
Did you drop
let
it
me
in chat?
see. I'll drop it in the chat. It's the his sponsor me video.
It's so funny. Everyone.
It's the second one. Yeah,
Okay,
That would be
I'm gonna play that one first.
it's the video of all videos.
I think it's called Whoosh on YouTube or something. It's like pretty bad.
It was one of the links that I prepared. I figured it'd be a good one to.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's loading now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring up the big screen and let that play for a minute.
Oh, if I could just add that I learned heel flips before kick flips too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you're not alone. I don't know why it was easier to something about I couldn't learn how to get it would like come up and like try to go in my privates. So like the heel flip was safer. It just flipped better in the grass when I was practicing.
Yeah, I don't even remember. That's the only one that I could hit moving. And yeah, so like, what were, and again, question for everybody: what were some of your favorite skate spots around when you were growing up, and what made them your favorite?
So I grew up here in Lakeland. This was Andrew Reynolds' birth spot. I was best friends with his stepbrother and stepsister, so I used to stay the night at Andrew's mom's house. Actually, it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes down the road. I had my wife take a picture and send it to me earlier, just so, but it was kind of weird and creeper. So I kind of grew up. We had like 3 or 4 really hot spots. Some of them were in like the old school 411 videos. So we had a 8 stair at one of the middle schools here, Southwest Middle. We had a 12 stair called Psycorp that Andrew like kickflip first try. It was stupid. And then we had a 6 stair at we called it White Church. It was like a local church. It was like a nice little 6 stair, awesome rail, and it was just a nasty like 3 with like it was an awesome place to do runs just because you had like a little 3 stair, had like a little run, it curved back, and you had like a 6 stair or a handrail, and it was just like one of those perfect little skate spots. That's what we kind of had here.
Brian?
So I grew up in a little town called Makaha on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. And honestly, the place we skated the most is the elementary school. And, you know, it was kind of the same thing. There was a 5 stair that we skated all the time. And then it came down to like a 2 or 3 stair. And then if you went to one of the buildings behind, there were some 7 and 12 stair gaps. And, you know, I would go up to them and kick my board off. You know, some of my friends could do it, but I had a great friend actually who gave me my first board. Correct. My first board, my mom bought me. It was like a Walmart board or something like that. You know, plastic trucks and a piece of crap. Everybody knows what these things were.
Sure.
I don't think we actually had a Walmart, but it was something like that. And this friend of mine, his name is Rusty Hoots, and he saw the board, and I was like, yeah, I'm learning to skate. And he's like, man, that's a piece of garbage. And so he handed me down this really trash Powell Peralta belt board. You know, the tail was mostly gone, and it had mismatched trunks. Like the front were Ventures, and the back was like a independent with a Thunder like axle piece bolted into it. You know, it was, and the wheels were mismatched sizes and everything. But that was the board I learned to skate on. You know, and you know, that school, and then we had, I don't know, 2 miles away, maybe 2-3 miles away, there was a concrete poured, I wouldn't dignify it as a skate park.
That's generous.
It literally was like
everyone.
a tennis court.
Truth, and today
nobody played tennis there. So they poured like a pyramid and just a quarter pipe and a spine.
Everyone.
Like this
this
spine just right in the middle of the park for no reason. It's just flat ground, like 4-foot spine, and then nothing. You know, it's like, what are you thinking? But you know, we skated there. It was a great time. And actually, I think back to that. I think in what is it, 2002 or something, I found out that that friend of mine who had taught me to skate actually, he was going into amateurs and doing competitions and stuff, but he was working at a water park one summer and actually died there. So, you know, I think back and it's like, man, someday I'm going to go back and skate that park, but it's going to be rough.
Visit Carlsbad. What's left of it anyway.
Wait, hold on, I have sound coming from. Okay, never mind. I'm doing something new with this show where I'm like, I'm actively playing videos in the background, and for some reason my browser is really like, no, you can't mute this at all. So then there's like 8 million fucking sounds going. Where's that fucking sound coming from? Yeah, man. So like mine, like I had mentioned, was really the only one I could do.
Left of it anyway.
Oh my god, where's the sound coming from? This is insane.
I don't hear it.
No, you wouldn't. It's strictly coming from my desktop. That's fine. So anyway, yeah, it was there was a police station, and they were usually okay with us because we had actually it was like a 15 stair that would go from, so it was the police station, and there was a big parking lot, and then the fire station, and around the side there was a 15 stair, and it would go down like 5 stairs, platform, 5 stairs, platform. So you would do it in like little itty bitty parts. I never went the full 50. Like that just would have been fucking murder. And then when it got down, it was where the fire trucks came out. So like there was a good bit of ground to practice flat ground stuff, and that's where I rolled my ankle for the first time. But yeah, and then like I just kind of got used to like going over rocks and tried to get bigger wheels and skating around horse and buggies and shit. Like that was just how we did it in Lancaster.
The Carlsbad Gap is easily one of the most recognizable obstacles in all of skateboarding
Located
at
so
a
for me
high
was
school
like
in
so Santee, California. It's like East County. I would skate from my house. There was sidewalks for maybe like just the end of my block, and then it was probably nothing like PA, like Pennsylvania, but I mean it was, for me as a little kid, it was there, like it was rough, kind of like the ground, and plus I had hand-me-down stuff too. But so I finally would make it over to my school, which was the elementary school, and then we had like 4 basketball courts, and then another 2, I think, and then a bank. But you had to roll over a ditch, which was like half the length of a skateboard, kind of like a gutter before you ride up the bank. So like to get up the bank was just a challenge. So you couldn't really do any tricks to like fakie or whatever, but it was still like something different. And then they had an 8 stair, they had a 2 stair, and then a 6 and an 8 in the back, which I was trying to, I used to pretend a lot in my head, and I would do like lines, like if I was filming right now, and that was the first time I like, went like that on a handrail going down, and and had to get stitches in that area and stuff. But
one of the dumbest injuries I ever had, I wasn't even on the board for some reason, and you know how like, especially back then, we didn't have YouTube. Back in my day, we didn't. Old fuck. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have like videos. Like today, when I go back to learn things, you have channels like Braille Skateboarding that teaches you everything, and you have forums, and kids are like infinitely nicer now, especially because you're old and frail. But back then, you had like tribal knowledge if you were in with the right people, and I was in with like some of them. Other was like, oh, you're a fucking poser, bro. And like the one board that my dad did get me at once, it had a layer of like slick. You remember like slick?
Man.
Yeah,
Those slick decks. Those were so heavy.
yeah. And so it was the only one I had. So my idiot buddies were like, yo, you can actually take that off with a chisel and it'll be a lot better. I don't know why it was going to be better, but it was going to be better. So I went to work on it. I took my dad's chisel and I started going, and it slipped because it's a slick. And the chisel fucking slipped. And I was like, oh man, that hurt. And I started shaking my hand, and I just see blood flying everywhere. And it turns out that I had sliced, I don't know if you could see it. I sliced my thumb all the way up. That's the scar from it. Changes my entire fingerprint on my finger. And my dad's like, I don't know, man, like wrap it in a, I had a good dad. Like he loved me, I think. Like he worked hard, and he never beat me, but he was very nonchalant about a lot of things. And he was like, you'll be fine. And plus the hospital was like a whole 10 minutes away, so who wants to do that? So I wrap it up like, and not a little, like the thing must have been like this much of gauze that we found. I think I used all the gauze in the house. And about a week later, I had to go to the doctor or the nurse in high school, and she was like, can I see that? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And she was like, she unwrapped it, and she was like, A, I'm rewrapping this better, and B, you should have went to a hospital. Good thing there's no like arteries in your finger or whatever. I would have been dead, man.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's so dumb. And I have to see this thing every day. And I just like, yeah, it was the dumbest thing. And then of course, you had all like your parents weren't going to afford to buy you all these new shoes all the time. So like, shoe goo and all that kind of shit. I got accused of cutting holes in my airwalks and putting goo on it just to like pretend
Just to look cool.
just to look cool. Like, who the fuck would do that?
Poser. No, I'm just...
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But yeah, so like, were there any particularly dumb things that any of you did that you remember and be like, there was no way this was ever going to work, or that you like? Because of course, the best stories are when you fuck yourself up, or the dumbest luck you had landing, or doing something awesome that you're like, there's no way I should have walked away from that.
Well, okay, so I think I didn't really get a lot of big injuries. First thing, a skate park, the ones that I went to when I was visiting like my grandparents and stuff, they said helmets all the time, and that thing saved my head a couple of times. So kids, if you're listening, wear your helmet. And actually, believe it or not, like when I was a kid, that's a thing that's changed a lot. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't afford pads. They're just really expensive for a nice helmet, nice pads, and all that. And these days, after I showed you that video where I hit the ground, I actually jacked my wrist up real bad.
It looked like it.
And my job is to sit at a computer and type. I get paid to do this, and if my wrist is effed up, then I can't do that, right? So I'm back to wearing pads. I look like Tony Hawk or whatever wannabe when I'm riding down the street, like doing a half ollie or whatever, But anyway, where the hell was I going with this?
Oh no, man! But I'm.
What was your question?
It was.
Anything that you shouldn't have walked away from.
Yeah, or work that shouldn't have.
My most significant injury was we were doing a downhill, and this is after we'd moved to Puerto Rico and had friends that there's this big hill and it had a grate at the bottom of it. So we'd go down, cleared the grate, no problem. There were a couple of speed bumps in the way, and just one of the speed bumps I hit just the right way, and it sent me flying off my board. And I did a couple of rolls and got up, and my wrist was done. Like for months, I just could not do anything with it. And my mom was one of those like yours who or parents who were like, yeah, we're not taking you to the hospital. You mess yourself up, and you got to kind of shake it off or whatever. So
roll my ankle, walk it off. Fucking
yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a scar here, I think, from I had cut it real deep, and there was like gravel embedded and all that. And I came home, and my mom was like, "Yeah, we'll wash it out." And she said, "Here's a tube sock. Put it over that." And that's how we treated it, So, but yeah, I think I still have the wheels that I hit that little bitty rock with, on that speed bump. For the kids these days, these are the 54 millimeter wheels that. These are considered small these days. Mm-hmm. This is the wheels we used to skate on.
That's right. I remember those. The bearing took up the whole goddamn wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Right. These are big wheels. No, these are the little ones now. And now you're looking at this. So yeah. So anyway, fun stuff. So that was my story.
Nice.
Mike, anything? Any stories come to mind of shit you should have walked away from or shouldn't have walked away from?
I mean, besides the one that I shared earlier where I wasn't able to walk away. So Josh and I we would hit these local parks and then hit some places in Phoenix. I think we went to Phoenix a couple times. I don't know. And so he was on the skate team. I just hung out with him because I wanted to be cool. I was the one that was the poser in those days. They were just amazing. And everything. So we would hit the local parks, and man, so the trick. My favorite trick is hard flip. So regular hard flip, switch hard flip, nollie hard flip, fakie hard flip. Like any hard flip is like my thing. So nice set of sticks, it was getting late. I've been trying and trying and trying, and I kept on kicking it away. I'd hit it, catch it, kick it away, hit it, catch it, kick it away. I was so scared to land it. I just wouldn't. And then kicked it, caught it, felt good in air. You know, you only have like a split second where you just, you know, you either have it or you don't. And it's just this intuition. And I'm like, oh, I got it this time. And when I landed, I just, my front foot just rolled off the board, man, and it snapped and it popped and I felt it pop. And I was just completely out of commission, man. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't walk. I had, you know, Josh and the team ran over and picked me up and carried me off. And it was just a really nasty fall. And I don't know. It was kind of like the worst one that I can remember. I mean, I've hit my head down 6 steps, like 6 stairs. You know, kickflip into 6 and then landing too far on the board and having it fall back. And actually, my dad was picking me up one day at this white church. And here, actually, you know what? Here, let me send you this link. I'll show you the white church. I grabbed a Google map. I'm going to send it through the Zoom chat, Rando.
Yeah, and for there was one question that was in the chat. Danny just got here. Can you re-intro the guests if there's a second? As a matter of fact, I can. We have DJ Archwisp with us. By the way, if you ever have a chance, and I have yet to get there, but have a chance to go to like Set KC, right? That's a crew I want to hang out with. Archwisp, they throw one of the dopest parties at DEF CON that I've ever been to, and the dude just bangs. Like I fucking love this guy. We have Mike with us. Mike, your handle is US. I always forget it. USA something.
You stay ready. Like
yeah,
the letter U.
That's
yeah,
right.
Stay.
Yeah.
I would have had stay ready, but it was taken in. And I actually created You Stay Ready as like a throwaway a long time ago. Just a burner persona that I had like everything set up for, and then I just kept it because I didn't want to go by my old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You Stay
dude,
Ready on Twitter.
Yours is still better than mine. Mine's literally my first initial and my last name. I was like, I'm going to join Twitter, and here's what I'm going to do. And now I can't change it because everybody calls me Dekaki.
Yeah.
And of course, we have pro skateboarder of I don't know. Should I call you current pro skateboarder, ex pro skateboarder?
Do you ever stop becoming a pro?
Yeah, like do you ever stop being a pro?
I think it's like an achievement more.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna call you pro skateboarder because you're Josh fucking Kasper. Josh Kasper, pro skateboarder. From my notes tell me San Diego, correct?
Correct. Yes.
San Diego. You rode for Reliance and Blind.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Reliance, Blind. But he's a pro skateboarder that Mike is like, hey, he's a buddy of mine, so I'm going to bring him on. So those are my guests. So, all right. So I'll ask you this because I'm getting up on my time pretty soon. For people that want to get into it, I mean, so actually, Josh, I mean, I'll ask you since you have young kids now that are doing this. What kinds of resources do you know that are out there now? I remarked earlier how it was so, and actually good resources and how it's different from when you came up. Like, what was the first inkling you had that I'm going to get on a skateboard?
My brother, he had the skateboard, older brother with the skateboard. You want to be like him. And we had the kamikaze board in the garage, which was like a Price Club board or something. And like we would go down what I called a hill at the time, which was like, it's not a hill. It's like a tiny little slant. Mm-hmm. And then, but yeah, I wanted to be like him. And then we would go down on our knees on the hill and then on our stomachs to get crazy, you know? And then my brother hit a rock and scratched up his face. And then mom took away the skateboard. But like, dude, today there is a ton of resources, but we were, like, my mom didn't have a lot of money either. So, but however, my mom did buy me all the pads, like the Rector pads, what color was that? Orange with red, just the old, like the worst color, you know, but dude, elbow, knee, and the helmet, and at the skate jam, I was the only kid with the pads. But like, dude, that was $130 in 1980, you know, six or something. But yeah, there's a ton of videos now. I like the supervision side of it. Like, I read an interview in Transworld, one of the girl pro skaters, and she goes to the YMCA because she calls it a lifeguards on duty, and they kind of, they keep certain elements out, and it's like, I like that. Like, as a parent, like, I don't, I wouldn't want my kiddo going skating like I did, with like, I'm like 12 and I'm like hanging out with, the older kids and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's hard, isn't it? Because like as parents, it's like depending on,
Dude,
I don't know where
It's a different world too.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way different.
and I always say, like, after I had my son, which he'll know this sooner rather than later, he was an oops, and he needs to come to terms with that. But I love him. He's everything to me now. I don't know how I ever lived without him, but I mean, whoops. And so I never knew real fear, and I never really had anything really to lose or knew what that feeling actually meant until I had a kid. So yes, now it's like we're out fucking grinding on park benches that are in like near our old middle school and stuff at literally 2:00 in the morning because we snuck out and we stole a 6-pack of Coors, and now we're skating and running from cops. Best memories of my life. I am horrified that my son's gonna follow in my footsteps.
Yeah. So I'm teaching, my daughter's 10 now. And actually, when I wanted to get her aboard for a while, and her mom was like, absolutely not, because she stepped on her brother's board when she was about 11 years old. So she tells the story. She's like, yeah, I went and jumped on it, and I'd never ridden a skateboard before, and I fell off and broke my leg. I was like, yeah, well, you tried to jump on it. So, a lot of people start off by just trying to push the thing a little bit. So finally I just bought a board for her, and mom's like, okay, cool, we'll go slow. She'll wear a helmet, she'll wear whatever knee pads that we have, and same thing. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, when I was her age, we would, like I said, skate 2-3 miles to whatever was available, and there's no way in hell she'd skate through Kansas City 2-3 miles and I would be happy with that, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. But yeah, so now there's more involvement, I think, with the kids, like parents like us who are like, yeah, I'll take you to the skate park, because it was something I remember doing, and like, it's athletic, you're getting outside, you're getting out of the house, you're not sitting in front of a computer or a TV screen all the time, actually getting some exercise and getting a chance to do something that is just fun. So I don't know, I think I like that element of it, but also, the whole, with all the videos and all that crap, back in the day, if you didn't know what an impossible was, it was just kind of like, well, does anybody know?
Yeah.
Do you know how to start doing this? No.
Is there some step-by-step in Thrasher that I can follow? Like, did they write an article on the impossible?
Yeah.
And by the way, I can't afford Thrasher, so can I steal it from Kmart?
Right, exactly. But now there's step-by-steps on everything, and so it's kind of good, but also kind of takes some of the spirit out of it. So I don't know. I'm still having fun with it, and my kiddo's having fun with it. So
yeah,
Ren 411 from Blockbuster and play it in slow mo. Wow. Look at his footing. Look at his footing.
That's yeah, dude. I'm like, does anybody have any videos? And by the way, my VCR is broken. Can I come to your house to watch them? So what I have garnered from beginning again is, yeah, dude, there's some trash out there, but there's really good ones. Like, there's a shop out in Northern California called Braille Skateboarding, and Braille, their videos are so good and they're so instructional, and they seem friendly. There's also, like, Reddit wasn't shit. The internet was barely around back there. So you go on Reddit now, and there's the subreddits. There's new skaters. There's old skaters for people like us. Then there's just skateboarding, and they're kind of a little more dicks. But like, for new skaters and old skaters, you can go on there and they post, what they're buying and the tricks they're working on. and now you have like the slow-mo, like 6,000 frame per second slow down, so you can see exactly where your heel's supposed to cut. Jesus, my old brain can't even process it. But yeah, there's so many good resources out there, whereas opposed to before it was just like, ugh. Josh, I'm curious. You were how old when you went pro?
Oh gosh, I actually turned pro when I was 21.
How did you know, or did you have other people pushing you to go pro, or were you always just like, this is exactly what I'm gonna do?
I was the kind of annoying. Well, I'm not. I was that annoying kid that would tell my older skater or ask my older skater friends like, "Hey, if I kickflip this gap, you think I'll get sponsored? Hey, if I if I ollie this, you think they'll put me on the team?" You know, and like another example, like in 8th grade, everyone has to stand up and say what they want to be or what they want to do, you know, and I was like, I want to get sponsored by the skate shop, and people just look at me like, what a dork. And it's like, I don't, so like, I don't know if it's like that inner like thing, like I just wanted to accomplish something, and like that, man, people really encouraged me, like filmers, like I could just tell they believed in me, and when I saw that, I was like, maybe I can do it, you know. It's like, so I just went for I went as big as I could, and I mean, I didn't do a lot of different tricks, but I went in the ones that I did do, like I did pretty good. So, but yeah, it took people to push me and help me. I couldn't have done it on my own for sure.
So back then, like, how do you get the nod? Do you get a letter in the mail? Do you get a phone call?
Dude,
Tell
you
them the
gotta
blind
go.
story. The blind story.
Well, blind, that's so amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm in line at the Transworld premiere, and my older friend Joe Tucker, who's a pro, he tells Jamie Thomas about me, and that I 360 flipped Carlsbad gap, and Jamie's like, no way, that's awesome. Introduces me to the owner of TSA Clothing at the time, which at that time it was like Tom Penny, just Chad Muska. It had the best, it was the coolest team and stuff. And anyway, so Ronnie Krieger got my sponsor me video and then showed it to Rodney Mullen. And then Rodney Mullen comes down to my house in La Mesa and sits in between of me and my friend who filmed me, and watches my sponsor me video. And that was kind of like how I got on blind. It's so surreal. Like, but I don't expect you guys to believe me, but that's how it happened. It was crazy.
No, I completely believe.
Oh my
Josh, in this current reality, I'll believe anything you fucking tell me. Like, nothing's gonna seem crazy now. No, dude. So, and then like, how's that life of a pro skater fold out? Like, do they send you gear and then they tell you to go places and shoot videos, and like, how'd that all go for you?
Yeah, it was really incredible. Like when I turned pro, I was actually in Sweden at like 21, but there's requirements because when you're at the pro level, like I had never entered an amateur contest, like as an AM, you know how like there's the levels of like
Yeah.
pro and AM on a board company. So I had never even entered an AM contest. I went to Tampa Pro in '97, and I'm skating against, dude, back in the day, Tony Hawk would skate that contest, and there was like Andy McDonald, Eric Hostin, Penny, Danny Way would skate the
Oh
street
God,
contest.
Danny Way. There's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Oh, dude, it was so nuts. And I was just trying to process all this stuff, but yeah, it was amazing. You get to do demos in the summer, and then you can go to Australia because it's the southern hemisphere at the opposite time. So like our winter is their summer kind of thing, and so you can go over there and do tours in the winter, and basically you're kind of, I think it's kind of like similar to like the music industry where you're promoting your board company as well as your name. So but when we had to do autograph signings, that was pretty tough because you don't really, you're like, it's like, what? This is kind of weird.
Yeah, like why do you want me to? What am I signing? What is this?
Yeah, I know. It's like, what? And then, yeah.
Dude, that's great.
So it's surreal.
Well, dude, this was awesome. Mike, you're the man. G Archwisp, where's your friend Pro Skater?
Sorry, man.
God,
Can't compete.
you couldn't bring Tony on with you? Fuck, come on, man. No, I'm absolutely blown away, dude. Thanks for like humoring us and just hanging out on my little thing here on Twitch. Like this was really dope. Thanks for talking to us,
Dude. Hey, have fun skating. Like let's keep doing this. I think I love it when I see like people my age and stuff. It's so encouraging because we're like dwindling out there.
Yeah.
There's not many of us.
I mean, and like I got to admit, like even when I brought my son to our local park here, and he was really nervous about going on, and so I stepped on his board, and I was like, this is not going to end well, and I pushed, and I got on, and I was like, holy shit, I can stand on this thing, because I didn't think that I just even had the balance for it, and now even just kicking around and cruising, man, it is amazing how good it feels, and just kind of like. It's kind of like when, so for me, if I smell something that I smelled when I was a kid that I loved, it brings back a very powerful memory. It's the same thing with when you get pushing and you hear the wheels on the pavement and like the trucks hitting something. It's a very magical sound to me. And I don't care if I never did another ollie in my entire life, as long as I can still push around. I think I'll be happy with it.
Yep.
Mike, Archwisp, thank you boys so much for joining. This was cool, man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
like this was really cool. This was like a good little distraction, and hopefully while we're all in quarantine, you can still get deliveries from like Zoom. Like I always recommend going to your local shop, obviously. But since everybody is on lockdown in a lot of places, you're only, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I want to get back into it, or I want to kind of start, hit up Reddit, hit up those subreddits that I mentioned, hit up pages like Braille, and you can still order shit from like Zoomies and shit like that. You can get decks, you can get completes, you can get all this stuff for relatively cheaply too. Like maybe it's just because I'm an adult and I make money now, but like a buck,
Right.
you know, when I was
We were joking about that. Yeah.
yeah, like
The cheapest hobby ever, right? But
right.
yeah, when we were kids, it wasn't that way.
Until you break your kneecap, then
You're right. Yeah.
it becomes slightly more expensive. But like, yeah. So for that, I mean, and you just go, about even less than $1.50, you can get like a pretty good generic complete, and just get out there and start practicing, man. Like, but yeah, I could pontificate on this all night long, but I gotta. I'm an old man, so now I have to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But
Hey, if anybody has, I've been buying a lot of gear.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions about the new stuff, hit me up on Twitter or whatever. We'll chat.
yeah,
For sure. Hey, is any good skate spots in Vegas? I mean, it's probably way hot, because we're gonna be out there usually August, September for DEF CON, but we should do like a skater meetup or something.
yeah.
So I looked up a couple. It looks like there are a few parks. I don't know if we want to go to a park or just hit the streets or whatever, but the parks look like they're about 20-minute drive from like the strip. One of them is, and then there's one another 40 minutes away. So
Yeah, I can't run from cops anymore.
No,
It's not worth it.
just dive into the casino. Can you imagine of like actually being out there right now where it's a ghost town? It would be
Yeah,
like
that'd be
like a
nuts.
level on.
amazing.
It would be like a level on Tony Hawk. Like
I was just telling my daughter how we used to skate in the mall,
Yeah.
like like you just have a board, I'm just walking through the mall. Oh, look, there's some stairs. Blah, blah, blah. The cops are coming, like, oh,
go,
take
go,
off,
go,
And
go.
she was like, what? You did that in the mall? I was like, yeah, why not?
I swear to
Yeah,
God,
so-
I'm so old now and so broken. Not only would I not run, I would just be like, let me go get my insurance and my ID for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, officer. But all right, boys, we're done. Thank you again so much for this. Josh,
Yep,
man,
thank you,
really,
guys.
really great to meet you.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
Best of luck in life and all that kind of shit. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man. See you guys.
See ya.
Peace all.
And end the stream. Maybe eventually. Hold on, we're not out yet because my stupid thing isn't working. It's a goddamn comedy of errors. Why? Urgh.